All right, perfect.
Do you hear me okay now?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
great, great. I'm Al McFarlane. Welcome to the Wednesday edition of Conversations with Al McFarlane. And on Wednesdays, we normally kick it with local business owners, entrepreneurs, people in community who are about creating jobs and creating service and creating quality, creating wealth in our community. Our mission is to highlight the notion of how we value what we do, our artistry, our productivity, our assets, our culture, and our capacity to really create a certain vibrancy and vitality in our community as a result of our gifts. And I'm pleased to connect with the brother that I just met yesterday, my first time meeting him in person today, Brother Andre Dominga Garcia. Andre is the owner of a new barber shop in South Minneapolis on, I think, 57th and Nicollet.
Yes, sir.
The barbershop is called Royalty Lounge Barbershop. Andre, good to see you, man. And let me tell you
Good
how
to see
this
you. Good
thing
to see
works.
you.
This is called Conversations with Al McFarlane. What I do is talk. I'm a
Stop.
journalist, I'm a reporter, and my pleasure, my joy, my training is in connecting with people. And my intent is to create a space where you can tell me and tell the world what's on your mind, what you stand for, how you feel about things, and do it in a way that promotes your business, because this is all about your success and our success as a community. So first of all, brother Andre, thank you for being here. Welcome
I
to
appreciate you. Thank
Conversations with
you.
Al McFarlane.
Thank you. So getting into barber has been actually super life changing for me. Um, like my past trauma, being shut off from the world, because I was adopted at 7, grew up in foster homes and orphanages. So with that being said, like being a barber has changed my life because I was quiet, and being able to cut hair has allowed me to open up, trust, let people in, communicate more, and just find my voice.
Mhm.
Just speak up, voice my opinions, just what I'm saying, just be able to communicate. And it's only been 3 years, 3.5 years since I've been a barber. So being a barber, I wanted to create my own environment, my own vibe where it's comfortable, everybody's accepted, everybody is loved, is wanted, and I just wanted to be able to create a safe space for everybody as far as, what everybody goes through. Because everybody's going through something. Me, I'm always nice regardless, no matter what. I treat the CEO like I would treat the janitor, or you know what I'm saying? Like, just respect always. So, I got a great team. I got 5 chairs. You know, we've been open 2 months. We're not really known in the community, and I'm sure we will, because once people get to figuring we're here and the vibe and what it looks like, people are gonna want to come here and get cut
Mhm.
and just feel great walking in and even greater walking out. So being a barber has just been great for me, and it's opened new doors for me as far as like being able to become my true self.
Mhm.
So I love it.
I love that, man. Listen, I'm going to come by and see you. I started wearing this beard just recently, so I'm figuring that it's time for me to have the beard professionally shaped,
Mhm.
because, yeah, I'm doing my own stuff, but I know that there's art in this and that the artists really know what they're doing. So I'll come by just to
Right.
meet you
You
personally
should.
and to be a
Good.
customer. Again, the objective here is for us to get used to and doing business with each other. That's what we need to do. So
Yep.
let me, you're at 57th and Nicollet. Which building? I know the building because my
So there's
wife
like
goes to Morgan, to Ryan Morgan must be next to you or close to you
so there's
with,
Bobby and Steve's on this side.
yeah,
There's the animal hospital on this side.
yeah.
We're within that strip. So
Okay,
right there.
you're on the freeway side of Nicollet Avenue or the other side? You're on
The
the
freeway side. The freeway
freeway
side.
side. Okay.
Yep.
And I think up the street from you is where my wife goes to get her nails done. It's called Pampered Nails. I don't know if you know those
Pamper
guys or
nails.
not.
Yep.
Yeah. So Ryan
Yep.
Morgan is like a family friend. He's been her nail stylist, and I call him her psychiatrist too, because
You feel
what
me?
you guys do, not only do you cut hair, but you talk to people,
We
and I
talk to
think
people.
people appreciate the
Yep.
conversations they get, and the feedback they get, and the laughs they get, and the edge that's always in the barber shop or the beauty salon or the nail salon, and our people can relax and talk to each other and sometimes talk about each other in ways
Exactly.
that are fun and funny and cutting, but it's all in the spirit of making you walk out feeling good about
That
yourself
too. Yep. Yep.
and feeling beautiful and feeling like you deserve to feel. So tell me about you. You're 20, what? How old are you?
I'm 28.
28.
Birthday's coming up in April, so I'll be
Well,
29 soon.
happy birthday to you.
Appreciate it.
Uh,
Thank you.
and you told me your name was Andre Domingo Garcia. What's the
Yep.
full name? Is
Yep.
that the full name?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And talk about your origination. You said you were adopted. You're from Texas.
So I was born in Texas,
Uh,
Brownsville, 10 miles near the border of Mexico.
is your family Mexican or
They are,
not?
but they're Mexican.
Uh,
And I got adopted when I was 7 years old and moved up here to Minnesota
okay.
by white folks.
Hmm.
And I grew up in New Prague. I don't know if you've heard of that area.
Sure.
Elko New Market. So it was a pretty white, area. Something that I wasn't quite used to, but I had to adjust,
Yeah.
And out there, I did kind of feel, misplaced because there's a lot of, there's a little bit of racism out that way.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
I know, as far as all that, I know what that feels like. So, but here I am now. I'm just trying to do better and become better.
Hmm.
So
Do you have connections with your Mexican heritage or lineage? Or
honestly, after like 20 plus years of being adopted, my real family reached out like a year and a half ago.
mm-hmm.
But I really have. This sounds cruel. I have no meaning to reach out because
Okay.
I'm fine where I'm at,
Okay.
and I
Okay.
feel like that just might be more baggage for me, and I'm not
Hmm.
ready to handle that side of my
Hmm.
family.
Gotcha. Do you connect with the African American community in a certain way or not?
Hmm.
I'm asking. Do you see yourself as part of the uh, African American community or the urban
Oh yeah,
community?
for
How,
sure.
you know, how
I
do you
grew up.
identify when you be in yourself? Uh, how do people see you, and what are you giving people to see?
Well, I'm pretty creative as far as just like being a barber. I grew up dancing. I grew up uh, dancing at the Timberwolves halftime shows with a lot of my friends. A lot of my friends were black, so
Hmm.
black culture is great. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I love black culture.
Hmm.
Anything about that is just the greatest. I
Hmm.
had one of my friends actually that I was working with a couple years ago. I was like, bro, why are you guys always just like so discriminated against? He looked over at me in a serious face. He's like, because we're great.
Ah, right.
I'm like, you ain't lying.
Yeah, that's the good answer. That's the best
It
answer.
was short, simple, and sweet.
Yeah. But and it
Yeah,
shows the undefeatable attitude. That's the
yeah,
attitude that because we know what the story really is, but you turn it and twist it, and you keep on stepping. And
right.
you keep being yourself. Show me your shop. Can you show me your shop at all from where you're
I
sitting
can actually.
with your
Hold on.
yeah,
Let's see. I
and
don't know if
just
I
kind
can
of
flip the camera.
walk us through your shop and listen, brother, the name of the game is to invite
So this is
people
like the
into your
little office.
space. Yeah.
This is the office area.
Okay.
And here's the shop.
Hmm.
I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful, man. Wow.
And then here's
Hmm.
my boy Carlos.
Okay. Hey, Carlos, how
What
you
up?
doing, man? What's going on? Yeah, good to see
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice little space.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I need a charger though. I need to grab this charger before my phone dies.
Sure.
It's on the edge. Hold on.
Uh-huh. No problem.
Yeah, it's a small space, but it
Hmm.
literally does the job. You know,
Hmm. Hmm.
5 chairs. There's a bathroom back that way. Some
Hmm.
storage space that way.
Hmm.
Hair washing station, hand washing station, and that's literally what it looked like.
Starting a business is no easy thing. It's a hard
It's
thing,
not. It's really
So
not.
what was your process for making the decision from being a stylist, a barber, but also becoming an owner of a business? How did you go through that? How did you think about it? What was your dream?
Well, I've always had my best friend's mom is a great mentor to me. Her name is Suzette Neal. Shout out her. I love that woman. Um, she is very coachable. She guides. She teaches. What's up?
What it do? What it do, G?
I'm in a live stream right now.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
What you doing?
I'm just he's streaming me right now. Bro. Hold on a second. So as far as her, she's like very business oriented. So having her out by my side has like really been great to me. So I looked up to that. So she's been great. She's. I'm not gonna say she's got me. Actually, no, she's definitely got me where I am at today because she's pushed me.
Mm-hmm.
And showed me a lot about life because I didn't have that.
Mm-hmm.
So you could say I'm like her little protege.
Okay.
So yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you did your training where?
I went to Minnesota School of Barbering right off of Lake Street. Miss Peggy, she's great too.
Mm-hmm.
She's amazing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's invite people to come and see you. And in this show, you can talk about the kinds of things you do, the prices, why people should come to you, and what they're going to get when they come and see you, and anything you want to promote your business. This is the time to do it.
If anybody's trying to come here and get cut, everybody here is great. Everybody comes with the vibes. Good laughs, good talks, good music. Barbers are great. They're great at what they do, including myself. The vibe is different. Everybody that comes in through that door, we make sure they feel comfortable, wanted, loved. This is a safe space for everybody to come in and get a cut.
Mm-hmm.
And they just feel great walking in, out, like I said earlier. So as far as coming here, this is gonna be the most great littest shop in all of the state of Minnesota. Someday I'm looking to franchise it because the concept and the look is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody hits me up to work here.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, well, so I'm calling you because you called me yesterday. My delivery guy was dropping Insight
Yep.
News off at your shop, right?
Yep.
So then I get a call, you saying, look, your guy said gave you a call because you want to advertise, and what does it take to get either free or other advertising in my newspaper? So we talked about that, and you
Yep.
sent me some material. So you're going to be in my newspaper next week. I want to tell you how much I appreciate you as a business from within our community, uh, collaborating with my business, a business within our community. Too often we don't work together, and too often we throw shade on each other,
we have to. We
and
gotta
keep
stick
each other
together.
down. And
Yeah.
so when I got the phone call and talked to you after about a minute or two, I said, I got to connect with this brother and work with him and lift him up because I love your spirit and I love your attitude. And when we talked, I tried to explain how our business model works. And you said, oh, well, I can do this, I can do that. And so I said, I love that. So that's why after we talked, I said, let me, my show on Wednesday, usually I talk to business people, businessmen and women. And I said, this would be a good chance to give this brother a call. He said to me on the phone, he's looking to get exposure. Let me lift him up. Let me make it happen. And that's why we're having this conversation, And what's going to happen is two things. One is that, you and I are going to know each other, number one. I'm going to be a customer of yours, number two. But number three, the story we're talking now is being shared around Twin Cities on the Inside News Facebook page, and also shared around the country, frankly, on the Facebook page of Black Press USA. Then this interview, I normally always transcribe the interviews, and I will actually do a feature story based on this conversation. So I'd say within 3 weeks or so, the news story on your and my conversation will be in the newspaper. And I can tell you that the intent of the story is to simply announce you, promote you, lift you up, and help you generate more business. And it reflects my belief that my role as a communicator, as a newspaper owner, is simply to highlight all of the treasures, all of the gifts, all of the capabilities in our community, and to reflect this belief that everything we need, we have. We just gotta, as you said, put it all together, work together, and build together, and we can build business after business after business, employ our people, train our people, make money, build wealth that is intergenerational, generational wealth, so that we don't have to feel like we're locked on the outside of their system. We create our own system, and the system that we create is one that celebrates our culture, our humanity, our dignity, our capabilities, and our drive, our hustle. So that's what
Hmm.
I see us doing. That's what I see I'm doing. So I'm sharing that with you. So in that spirit, I want to talk more and learn more about your energy. You said you were a dancer. Tell me about being a dancer.
Yeah, so one day I was at the Burnsville Mall and I seen like, a little stand. It's
Hmm.
called Heartbeat Studios, and they were doing auditions to be a Timberwolves dancer.
Hmm.
I gotta say, I had no experience dancing. I mean, I would watch whatever's on TV and try to dance a little bit here and there. But
Like
I went to the
breakdancing, kind of.
audition.
Hmm.
I went to the audition. I nailed the first one. Went to the second audition, killed the second one, and I passed the third. So I ended up being a dancer for the Timberwolves for like 3 or 4 years,
Hmm.
from sixth grade to eighth, maybe ninth grade. So
Okay.
I was able to dance for the halftime shows and meet various Timberwolves players and NBA stars and the
Hmm.
Harlem Globetrotters. So
Hmm.
that was
Who
great.
who was running that? And a friend of mine was head of the cheerleading squad for the Timberwolves. Is that the same person that would have been running your show or not?
No, I feel like the cheerleader squad is a lot different from Heartbeat Studios because that's like separate.
Okay, so Heartbeat
Yep.
Studios had a contract to do
Yep.
these shows as part of halftime, so it wasn't
Exactly.
part
Yep.
of. Got it.
Yep.
Okay, and so how long were you doing that?
I was doing that for a good 4 years. Some great
Okay,
times in my life right there.
okay.
Yep.
Did you make any money doing it, or just had fun, or a little both?
Uh, we are supposed to, but I don't want to talk about that part.
Gotcha. Okay, I respect that. I respect that. My friend Lee Henry Jordan is watching us on YouTube, and he put a note saying this is cool. And let me say to anybody else that's listening, I'm going to put the uh, contact or the call-in information. If somebody else is listening and want to join the conversation, I'm posting the URL,
Okay.
and you can join us. We'd love to have you in the conversation. I think it should be showing up on
Okay.
the screen. Um, and if it's not, just hit me with an email, Al at Insight News or McFarlane Media at Gmail. But I think it should be showing up on the. You know what? Let me see. I know how to do this. I forgot. I can make a banner, and the banner can
Oh,
scroll.
one
Go
thing I
ahead.
did forget to mention too, uh, for after hours, after barbershop hours, we have a recording studio right here.
There
I
we
can't
go.
believe I missed that part because if anybody wants to do recording studio after hours, we got great rates. A great engineer, Santana Beats. He's great. And my business partner, Lito.
Is
Hit
he
her
is
up,
he
hit us
is he
up,
there
hit me
now?
up, hit whoever up.
Is he with you there now?
Huh?
Is your studio partner with you there now?
She is actually.
Bring her in. Bring in the conversation. Let's talk about that.
Hey, Lito, come here. Hey, we about to get some mad exposure. You said what? We about to get some mad exposure. Oh, hell no. No. He wants to talk to you about your studio. Who's this? Al. His name is Al. What's going
Hey,
on?
how you doing?
Go ahead, have a seat.
Andre was just telling me about the barber shop and said that you all have a studio too. And so
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I said, bring your partner and let's talk about it. Because I'm the owner of Insight News, right? Insight Community Newspaper, but I also do Facebook Live 5 days a week. And the show is called Conversations with Al McFarlane. This show is being
Okay.
streamed at the Insight News Facebook page. It's also being streamed on the Facebook page of the Black Press of America. It's a national audience. And the objective of this program is always to lift up. I'm a reporter. I'm a journalist, and I've been
Okay,
in the
okay.
business since before you guys were born. I've been doing this a long time, and my goal is just to connect with people and help you tell your story. And my main drive is to give you access to bring more people into what you're
Mm,
doing, what you
I
love, what
love
your
that.
passion is. So introduce yourself. First of all, thank you for being there, and thank you for jumping on this call. Our conversations are always unscripted, so it's like we having this private conversation, the three of us. But hopefully, thousands of others will get this information and listen to it and be able to respond to it as well. So. Let me give me your name and talk about the studio. Talk about what you guys are doing.
Okay, my name is Lito Soto. Um, I own Forbidden Music Entertainment. I started about 5 years ago or 6 years ago
Mhm.
as a promoter, bringing Hispanic artists to El Nuevo Rodeo
Uh-huh.
on Lake Street
Yeah.
before it
Look.
burned down and all that of the
Yeah.
George Floyd and all that.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I brought some big Hispanic artists like Alex Rose, Alpha, and then I was trying to combine Hispanics with other people and English people, so we
Mhm.
all work together. So
Mhm.
I brought FBG Duck out here as well, and we threw a big party. It was always cool. But for my shows, I always wanted local artists to open
Mhm.
and it was so hard for me to find somebody in Spanish, so I always had somebody in English,
Mhm.
but they weren't like willing because it was like, oh, it's a Hispanic show. I don't know if I want to do that. I'm like,
Ah,
everybody, we're in America, everybody speak English.
that's right.
So
Well, everybody speaks Spanish too now. It's getting that way. Should get that
and
way.
and I had this one artist named King Cole, and he's from here, from Minnesota. He was like, I don't care what kind of audience it is, I'm gonna do it,
Mhm.
and he did it. So I was like, yeah, I was like, damn, I kind of low key want to like recruit artists from here and kind of put them on, you know, and work with them. And that's where this whole idea with the studio, I went from a promoter to a studio, and I'm looking for artists, pretty much.
Are you from here? Is it Alito or Lito?
Lito. No, I'm not from here. I'm from Puerto Rico.
Okay, Boricua.
Boricua, sí, sí.
Bueno, bueno. Mucho gusto en conocerle. Yo soy medio cubano. Yo soy de aquí, pero mi padre es de Cuba. Y
Cuba,
sí,
Cuba. Yeah, I
claro,
got
y
a lot of
cuando
Cuban
de vez
friends.
en cuando tengo la oportunidad de hablar en español, yo digo que ya estoy aprendiendo y hay muchas
Lo
palabras
hablas muy bien. Lo
que
hablas
no,
muy bien.
yeah, bueno, bueno, gracias, gracias.
Sí.
So I think it's important that whenever we can, we simply acknowledge all of our common experiences and commonalities across language, across culture, across race, because at the end of the day, all of those things, can be barriers, but they don't need to be. They can be bridges, right?
Oh, yeah.
Pathways to awareness, to understanding, to joy, to fulfillment, to learning about histories, and to building futures that celebrate and elevate all of us together on the planet. It's a wonderful thing. And so,
Yeah.
talk about your. Are you a musician too? Then,
I'm
how
not a
did
musician.
you come into
Right
being a
now,
promoter?
okay, so I have four artists that I work with. One of their name is my main girl artist. Her name is Venus Sopio. Then I got
Spell
she's
that for
from
me so I can
Colombia.
spell her name for me.
I'm sorry.
How do you spell her name? Venu?
Venus Opio.
Opio. OPIO. Okay, Venus. Okay, Venus Opio. Got it.
Yeah, Venusario. And
Okay.
where she so at first we was developing her. I've been working with her for like 2 years now. We just started to launch her music as of January 2022.
Mhm,
So we're just starting with her,
mhm,
and she's Colombian. I
mhm,
also got another guy named Principio. He's Salvadorian.
mhm,
He inclines more with reggaeton,
mhm,
dembow. You know,
mhm,
dembow is like more like Dominican.
mhm,
Um, and then I got somebody else. His name is White Prada. He's Colombian. He's just more like Spanish rap.
mhm.
And I got Aaron. Aaron, he's
Yeah.
Spanish. He does Spanish drill,
and he's Puerto Rican and Dominican.
Uh,
And that's what I built a team where I
yeah.
got my producer slash partner Santana.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one who like comes record them. I manage the artists. I
Mm-hmm.
make sure I instruct them. I make sure they doing this, doing that,
Mm-hmm.
doing photo shoots, keeping content in their social media, and
Mm-hmm.
just trying to like work them till they get it, till they get where I want them to be and
Sure.
where they want to
Sure.
be as
Sure.
an artist.
What would be cool if you could do this? You have your own photographer and stuff. Do that kind of stuff.
Um, I do not right now, but
Okay.
I have a photo session like in 2 weeks that I booked.
Is it going to be somewhere else or in your shop?
I we was thinking about doing it outside just
Oh,
because if they're all different,
yeah.
so we want different locations. Like I don't know if
Okay.
they want to just do it at a one photography place or be
Yeah.
outside and be have
Yeah.
lights and all that.
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
didn't. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I want to collaborate with you guys, and so I'm as you're talking, and I'm seeing, just this whole image, consciousness that you have. I think it would be fun to have your team or you or the artist on the cover of Insight News. So
Oh wow.
I'm
Yeah, I will
committing
be
I'm
definitely. I'd be
committing that
glad
in,
to.
as you guys develop that in a couple of weeks, let's stay in touch, and we'll pick out a way to build this story that I'm going to do this interview from into our
Okay.
cover story. And an image can be, of the artist, or it can be of Andre in the shop, or we can do both. We can do one with the shop and the studio, and another one with the artist, because we think it's just a cool thing, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you, man. It was
Awesome.
like I when we were building it, well, I was like, Andy, should we? Then we had this room right here, and I'm like, well, it happened where the producer we was using, he left the studio where he was at, so I
Hmm.
was coming out of pocket, and one of my artists was like, why don't you just build your own stuff? Like
Yeah.
and that way you just save your money.
Yep.
You know what you want. We can
Hmm.
record it as many. And I was like, you know what, you're right.
Hmm.
And I asked Andy, I was like, Andy, what should we do with this room? He's like, well, bro, let's go ahead and let's make a studio in there. And I was like, you for real?
Yeah.
I was like, if I do, I'm gonna put my 100%. He's like, yeah, let's do it.
Hmm.
I was like, oh wow, okay. So we just starting up. As soon as he opened here, we opened too. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And it's been good
Yeah.
because people come get a haircut and then they hear the music and sometimes they hear us making beats
Hmm.
because we make beats just out of fresh start
Yeah.
and they hear and they'll be like, oh, what's going on in there? And they get curious. They'll be like, oh, let me try it out for an hour or so. And then we
Hmm.
just sometimes I don't even charge people. I just be like, come on, hop in,
Yeah.
check us out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they'd be like, oh, I'm coming back. And a lot of people has came back. I had like I want to say like 15 new clients that just come get recorded, and it's great. You know what I mean? Just new artists that I've never heard about.
Hmm. I have I just hit the wrong. Here it is. I have a cousin, a first cousin in Kingston, Jamaica, who's a producer. His name is Phil McFarlane. I'm going to send him a note right now and ask him if he can join the call. Let's see, Phil. Just a second. I'm typing as we talk. Phil, can you join this call to talk about music production? And he might get this, he might not, but I'm going to send it to him right now. But he's a young guy like you guys are, and just all about the music, all about the culture, and you're probably where he was, say, 10 years ago,
Oh
just
wow!
getting just getting it organized, right? But his group tours Australia, they tour Europe, they tour this country. The band is called let's see, Earth Cry, Earthkry. So it's Phil McFarlane, and the band is called Earth Cry. It's about five guys. They all went to college together in Kingston, and all were music majors. They teach music and do things like that. But then they built this label
Oh wow!
that they
Yeah.
have, and they built a studio. Now they're using drones and stuff and doing videos. They're doing high level videography,
Wow.
and so it'd be great just for you guys to know each other, because I know you've got a vision, right,
Oh, I
of
got a vision.
something
Like
big.
everything you're telling me, I'm like, I'm trying to work myself up there.
And
But
yeah,
it's it's hard to like find people that want that are willing to work, and then like at first you gotta work for free pretty much
yeah,
because you gotta be humble. Like
yeah,
you gotta give to give back.
that's
And
right.
I feel like you work for free sometimes. A lot of people don't like that,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I see it like a game.
It's paying dues. It's paying dues.
Yeah.
It's the fare you pay.
I had a few offers that for photographers mainly because I
Yeah.
need photographers,
Hmm.
and then they say yeah, and then they quit.
Hmm. Hmm. What's your background? Tell me your background.
um,
I should have you change the name. I got Andre's name there. Take a minute, put your name in, and then when Andre comes back on, we'll put his name back up.
I don't know
Can
how to change that.
is Andre? He's not there. Well, don't worry about it then. Don't worry about it. Um,
um, with my background, like where I come from and all that.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
What's
well I
what's
come.
your story? What's your story?
Okay,
Somebody don't know you. Give them the elevator story. So when the elevator stops, they feel like they know somebody. Got a new friend.
man, I come from pretty much a mother of 5 kids, raising 5 kids. It was hard. No, my dad was not there, so it was like I'm the big sister. I had to help her out with my brothers and all that. Um, you know, moving from Puerto Rico over here is different, and it's difficult for somebody that don't speak English,
Hmm.
and just to catch on to stuff. It's kind of hard, and then I don't know. I led myself to a bad pathway at some point,
Hmm.
and we all got our ups and downs, and I
Sure.
was like went to rehab for like 5 times.
Hmm.
The fifth time was it. Been
Good.
sober for like 6 years, and
Hmm.
then I'm still here. Like
Hey, hey.
I was down bad,
I
and I ain't going back.
hear you. I hear you. Uh, when were you last in Puerto Rico?
My last, I went in May,
Did you,
last year May.
how is it? How's your family in Puerto Rico?
Oh, they're all nice. I mean, they're all older, but it's
Yeah,
like my grandma and my aunties are out there,
yeah, yeah.
but they're all they're all living. They're wealthy. They're healthy.
And wise,
Yes.
healthy, wealthy, and wise. I was in Puerto Rico in 1967.
Wow. Wow.
That's old. And I was like maybe 19 years old, maybe 18 or 19 years old. I was 19, and I was a sailor in the Navy. And the
Wow.
ship that I was on pulled into San Juan for 2 days or 3 days, and it's my first time being in the Caribbean. Even though I told you my dad is Cuban, but his family is from Jamaica. They went from Jamaica to Cuba. All of my dad and his sisters and brothers were born and raised in Cuba
Yeah.
to a certain time. Then they moved back
We're
to
all
Jamaica.
close because we're all
Yeah.
islanders.
Oh
Cuba,
yeah.
Jamaica, we're all little islands that
Yep.
are all
Yep. Yep.
across each
Yep.
other.
Variations on the same people, right?
Yeah.
And so I remember sitting. Well, first time I got there, I wasn't aware that there were so many brown and black people in Puerto Rico. I, I had the picture in my mind of Puerto Ricans as basically Spaniards, as white people, and I just didn't have this awareness that there's a whole spectrum, a rainbow. And in every Puerto Rican family, pretty much there's everybody, right?
Oh yeah.
It's a combination. Somebody's got, a grandma or an auntie, who is African, or Indian or Spanish or all three, and people come with all shapes and colors and sizes and stories. And so I was surprised to see so many brothers. I said, dang, these cats look just like me. I'm 19 years old. And then and had a little Spanish in me, so I said, I think back then you were supposed to never get out of uniform when you were on the called the beach in the town. But I said, I can put on some civilian clothes here, and these white boys won't know me from any other brother on the street here. And that's what I did. I went to a place, bought me some civilian clothes, and put my stuff in a locker, and went out and hung on the corner on Luna Street in Old San Juan.
Oh, old
And
San Juan, that's where you was at.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
had a blast, huh?
yeah. And so I just sat there, I'd sit there with some other people sitting around, on a retaining wall on the corner. And I said, as long as I don't say anything, I look just like everybody else, hanging out, chilling and relaxing. And so that was a beautiful thing. I loved that. But I loved being in Puerto Rico. Beautiful place, beautiful people. And after that, I had a chance to come back and go to New York, and then they see all of Puerto Rico in New
All the
York,
Puerto
and
Rican descent
New
over
Rican,
there.
right? Yeah. And yesterday I had, not on the program, but I was looking to talk to sister. You might know her. Maria Isa. Do you know her?
Oh yeah, I've actually heard of her. She's the
She calls herself Soto Rican. Soto Rican,
yes.
yeah. But she's a rapper, a singer, artist, right?
Oh really?
Yeah, she's awesome. I mean, she's tough. She's really good. And she's like a battle rapper. So she's come through, the battle reps, and she always wins. She slays everybody. And she's running for office now over in St. Paul. She's running for state representative from District 65B, I believe. And I'm sure she's going to win. She's just an awesome person. I knew her mom and her family. They've been in the
I
community for a long
actually
time.
heard of her from one of my good friends. She works for television. Unique
Mm-hmm.
what is it?
Telemundo.
Telemundo. Yeah.
Telemundo. Mm-hmm.
And they had a meeting with her at Fogo de Chao, and she's like, Lito, I got somebody that can help you with the music. And like I go to sleep and I think music. I wake up and think music. Like it ain't. I'm not an artist, but
It's your world.
this is my passion. You know
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I think I've heard of her before. And she's like, well, she's gonna run for Senate or something. And I'm like,
Yep.
what?
Yep.
Yeah, that's why I
She
was
was.
like, when you said rapper, I was like, I don't hear about. I know she's a senator or something.
No, she was going to run for Senate, but as it turned out, another seat opened up where the guy who's also Puerto Rican uh, decided not to run again. What's my guy's name? I'll think of his name in a second. He's been in the legislature for a dozen or more years, but he decided not to run again. And instead of going against the incumbent, who is the senator, she said, let me file for the House of Representatives. And she was the only person that had filed for the DFL. So she's the DFL candidate, but she's popular and she's smart and she works hard and she will really represent the entire community, but our people in particular. She is really real. And so, yeah, you should connect with her, just
Oh yeah,
to make sure
my
she
friend
knows.
was like, yeah, you I think you would like her, but I added her on my Instagram, but I've never like made the approach where I would like hit her up or was
Yeah,
like, I want to get in touch with you. I'm Puerto
yeah,
Rican as well. I
yeah,
know
yeah,
I've never done that.
yeah. My brothers are reggae musicians,
Yeah.
band called Ipso Facto, and the main one is my brother Wayne, who's two under me. I'm one of 12. I'm number two of 12 kids in my family.
Wow.
Not kids anymore because Lito, I'm 74 years old, but we used to be kids, right? But we're growing up.
We all used to be kids.
There we go.
I'm 33.
Okay, see, and but I'm going to connect him with you guys too, just so that you know.
Appreciate
He,
it.
he 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 loves music. He loves. He was. Here's a story about the language. He was having he had kidney transplants, and then before it was over, his liver failed, so he had to have a liver transplant. They put him in a coma because the first one they tried to give him wasn't working, and so. But if he didn't get the liver, he wouldn't make it, right? So I went down to the hospital. He was at Hennepin County General, and I brought a CD player, and I brought the Afro-Cuban All-Stars CD.
Yeah.
Juan, what's Juan's name? Let's see, Juan. I'll think of the leader's name in a minute. But anyway, so I told them, they let me put the music behind his head and put the CD on. So just keep playing this music, right? And just a lot of songs, all in Spanish, was Afro-Cuban, and he comes out of the coma singing and speaking Spanish, right? And alive. And when I told Juan Gonzalez, who was when the Afro-Cuban All-Stars were here at a concert at Orchestra Hall.
Wow.
And Wayne was with me then. I introduced him. And Juan de Marcos Gonzalez, that's his name. He's the leader of the Afro-Cuban All-Stars. And he said, yeah, man, this is this is Santeria. This is the spirit is with us. The ancestors are with us all the time. And while you were there in coma, they were working on you. They were doing surgery on you too. And that's why you're alive today. So anyway, he's a good guy and a good person. Well, listen, Lito, so good to meet you. So good to meet you. I'm
too.
looking forward to talking to you in person. And best of luck. We're going to do so. Count on a commitment from me to ayudar y celebrar su, como se dice, su trabajo, sus obras. Is that right?
Sí.
Yeah. So
se lo agradezco mucho. Gracias por la oportunidad de tenernos en su programa y en lo que usted está haciendo. We support who support us.
There we go. Yeah.
Si usted tiene cualquier social media, lo voy a añadir para poder, repost y todo para que la gente también sepa de ustedes, sepan de nosotros,
Bueno, mil gracias. Bring back Andre, brother, Dre. So
yeah, let me go get him real quick.
Yeah, cool. This has been so nice. Yeah. What a wonderful conversation. These are new friends, and what's cool is making this friendship on Facebook Live and on YouTube, and really cool. So I'm enjoying the conversation. I'm hoping that you're enjoying it too. And the thing is, the beautiful thing is it started off with the possibility of us doing some business. There's a new barber shop, a new shop in South Minneapolis. My paper was being delivered to his shop. The owner of the shop gets the number from my driver, and gives me a call. That call leads to a conversation and a feeling. And here we are, less than 24 hours later, doing a live social media program and committing that we're going to be doing a feature story on this business, on these entrepreneurs. And Andre, I told Lito that she said, you guys are doing a photo shoot for some of the artists in a couple of weeks, that we'll work with you and we'll use some of that art as the cover for Inside News. So I'm going to put you on the cover of Inside News, number one, and I'll put the artist on the cover as well, because I want to celebrate and lift you guys up, because I'm so appreciative of the opportunity to know you, to meet you, and to welcome you and lift you up, man.
Me too. I really appreciate you. This has been an honor, and it's been just great.
Let me close with this. Close with you having an opportunity again to invite people to your shop, your business. Give the phone number. Give the email, social media, anything you want to say. You can say it now and let people know. Hours and anything you want to talk about.
Lounge Barbershop. It's on Instagram. It's on Facebook. All you gotta do is type it in. If you want to book, you can book through the Instagram page, or you can just text me. My number is 952-564-1722. Email, no website yet, but it's loading. Just tune in.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. So good to meet you, and we're going to be working together. Okay.
I appreciate that. I'm excited.
All right. Take care.
You too.
All right. Well, so that was cool. Good conversation, and I love it when I have a chance to use my Spanish a little bit. I was saying to him, to Lito, that I have Cuban roots. My father was, and his sisters and brothers are all born in Cuba, and they got there because our grandfather and grandmother moved from Jamaica. They lived in the Blue Mountains, and they moved from Jamaica to Cuba, I think, just after the turn of the century, like maybe in 1920 or so, or 1915. I'm not sure when, but the early 1900s. My father was born in 1923. He has one older sister. So she might have been born in 1920 or so. So sometime before 1920, they moved from Jamaica to Cuba. A lot of Jamaicans moved to Cuba and they were looking for a better life. And they were farmers. But they stayed in Cuba maybe 10, 12, 15 years. And all my dad was born there, his sisters and brothers were born there, raised up speaking Spanish. Spanish was their first language. But I think they were all disappointed because life was very hard, very difficult. And I've read stories in the Jamaican Gleaner newspaper that reveal that after a dozen years or so, a lot of those expats, those people that left Jamaica looking for a better life, came back broke and broke in. And my recollection is that the stories I read kind of were sneering stories that said, you all thought you were going to find something better, but you left, the frying pan and went into the fire, and now here you come dragging back to Jamaica. That was the tone of what I think I read. Maybe if I'm reading it wrong, somebody can tell me. But they came back and continued life in the Blue Mountains up above Ocho Rios in Jamaica, where we still have family, a lot of friends. But I love the connection, and I love the chance to be able to use my Spanish. I tell people that I learned to speak Spanish in school, but I knew that I could be good at it because my father spoke Spanish, and from time to time at home, especially when he was angry or frustrated, he would go to Spanish, and I would get the feeling, the language, the sauciness of how he expressed himself, sometimes in Spanish without knowing the words, but I know what anger is. And so that knowledge itself, when I started studying Spanish formally in the 7th grade in Kansas City, uh, I had an attitude where I said to myself, I got this. I can do this. This is mine. I own this language. And I've had that attitude from ever since. So I excelled in Spanish, both in junior high school and even in high school, to where I had exhausted all the courses in Spanish that they offered at the high school I went to, and had a chance to do college level Spanish at the junior college across from my high school. That was cool. And that kept paying me forward, because then when I went to Morehouse College for my freshman year, um, I started off at advanced college Spanish, and I was good enough that sometimes the professor, if either schedule or something came up, he would send somebody to the dorm and say, "Tell McFarlane to come and be like my TA, run my class today." And that's an honor for a freshman, 18-year-old freshman. So it was cool. So language is cool. And I say that because I'm thinking about and um, looking at the power of language and the purpose of language and what language and communication do with us and for us in our life. And I've mentioned this several times. I'm reading some books about ancient African ways of being, ways of knowing, and it's led me to take a course now. I'm taking a course through a program called, Narrative. I'm wearing a T-shirt. I'll show you this here. Narrative, narrative with a K. It's like the word knowledge with a K. And Narrative is a social media or online program that is bringing scholars together from around, and people, just people from around the country and around the world, to look at how we can innovate, how we can build, develop knowledge that reflects who we are and who we want to be, who we are becoming, that reflects the truth of who we have been. And the truth of who we have been takes us back into antiquity, at the origin of humanity and at the birth of civilization. And it takes us back to a place where we understand that the descendants the of ancient Egypt, of Nubia, introduced civilization into humanity, and that everything beyond that is an extension, a branch. And so one of the things that I'm doing in that, and I just want to share this because some of you might want to do this too. I invite you all to go to narrative.com, KNARRATIVE.com, and just check it out. And inside the narrative framework, there is a project called Nubia. Same concept, Nubia with a K, KNUBIA, and that's a internal social media platform at which uh, they're building classes on food, nutrition, on science, on astrology, on literature, and one of the classes I'm taking is the class on hieroglyphics. So this morning I was actually writing my name in hieroglyphics. I have to practice it. I'll show it to you though, I think. So this is simply, let's see, is this it? Well, this is part of it. So this is ALVIN. I think I got it right. I sent a note to the professor. The professor's name is Mario Beatty. He's with the Department of Africana Studies at Howard University. My middle name is Alonzo. And again, this is, where do I start here? ALAN, and this is Z, and this is the O, Alonzo. And I even ventured to try to do my last name. I'm not sure this is right, but this symbol is the owl. It has the M sound, M. This one is the A sound. This is the vulture, but the sound is A. And let's see, I think I did something wrong here because I have to accommodate the C sound for McFarlane, and I don't have that in here. I think I have it on another one, but I did not get it in here. I see there should be, well, let me show you how it should be. I can do it right now. Oh, no, it is there. Let's see. So this one is the C sound. This is the C. So Mac, Ma, and this is a CK sound. So what's missing here is McFarlane. I don't have the far, but this is the lane, LAN. So anyway, I'm learning. I'm having fun. I'm enjoying it, and I'm thinking, boy, wouldn't it be cool if thousands of us decided that we had the time and the interest and the joy of learning to write hieroglyphics and to speak in ancient languages, languages that our people used before we were introduced to Spanish or English or French or Arabic. What would that mean if we recognize that language is a window or is a tool that allows people to create consensus around making meaning of the world and creating stories that can be transferred and transmitted over distances and over time. So I'm excited just to be in this class and in this company. I want to always give credit to the people that I'm learning are the primary faces and doers in this work. And that's Dr. Karen Hunter, who is a journalist extraordinaire, a reporter, writer, author. And her partner in this project is Dr. Greg Carr. Greg Carr is with the Africana Studies Department at Howard University as well. And the two of them launched out just doing some interviews. And Karen tells the story that she was meeting and talking to Dr. Carr, and he was just dropping, science, knowledge. That's what he does all day. And she said, hold it. Can I record? Can I push the record button? And she did. And the rest is history. From that, they've now created over the past year or 2 years now, almost 105 or 6 weekly Saturday morning shows. The show is called In Class with Carr. and it's a 2-hour show. Comes on at around, I think, um, 9 o'clock East Coast time till 8 o'clock Minnesota time. You can see when it comes on, but it's just fascinating, riveting, and it has emerged as the largest Africana studies class in the world. 1,000 plus people sign on, and they listen, they laugh. There's a chat that's lively that goes on while Dr. Carr is just laying out stuff, and they pick topics and they flow with the topic, but then what happens is that after a bit, they open the chat up or open the StreamYard up. We're using StreamYard, and invite people in, and people, go back and forth, challenge, share, build on the topic matter at hand, the subject matter at hand. So it's fascinating. It's us recognizing our understanding, our genius, sharing what we know, challenging and being challenged, but in the spirit of this is how we grow. We grow together. And one of the things that has come out of this for me is I'm in a reading frenzy now. I've been showing these books all the time, but I'll show this one again. I'm just reading this brother named Ai Kwe Arma. And I hope somehow he gets this and knows that I'm reading and celebrating and just loving his work. This book is called Wat and Shemsh. That's the English transliteration, but the hieroglyphics here uh, uh, is how that is said in hieroglyphics, and it means the way of companions. And this brother is from Ghana. He's a philosopher, a writer. The subtitle is Myth, History, Philosophy, and Literature. And then I'm reading a book by one of his teachers, and that's Theophile Obenga, who is a person that decided that in his search for the truth and his search for excellence as an educator and as a learner, he needed to be able to read the original text of ancient peoples. So he learned hieroglyphics and began major translations of ancient texts of hieroglyphics. And so Mario Beatty is one of the students of Theophile Obenga, and I think that these guys are all together. One of the things I like about this book, this kind of relates to today's conversation. Uh, this book and another book of his I'm reading called the um, Eloquence of the Scribes. Eloquence of the Scribes. So I see myself as a journalist, as a scribe. That's what I am. I'm a scribe. And so when I'm reading these books, and he traces the role of scribes versus the role of griots in African culture, fascinating. We know that the griots kept the history of the people. They themselves were repositories, that they were a class who, from early, when the elders, the master griots, identified, would groom and pull these young people out of society so that their entire life was being poured uh, with the history of the people, the cultural, the geographic, the spiritual history. And so it's a fascinating story of how our people carried culture forward over generations, over millennia. Then the book talks about with the creation of writing, the invention of writing, and the role that scribes played. And it talks about uh, cross purposes sometimes, uh, what allegiances or motivations scribes had to their craft. Their craft requires accuracy, honesty, clarity, brilliance, and intent. Well, the same applies to the griots. That's what they instilled in the people that they taught, that they raised to become their replacement, the repositories of the history of the people over millennia. And the questions raised by Armla in this book and others include questions of how do allegiances work? And I think I recall reading that he said that the griots too often presented themselves as loyal to patrons, and therefore, rather than telling the the unvarnished story, had an obligation because of circumstance and relationships and food and money, power, to always tell stories that elevated the the powers that be. So they became agents in many ways of kings and rulers and dynasties, and shifting the narrative to suit the dynasty that had the power at the time. On the other hand, scribes had, as if I'm reading this correctly, uh, not the same pressure. I'm sure they had some of it, but there was an ability to stay a little more independent and to provide a story that had more permanence. As the Griots story could shift, once you inscribe what you see today, then you've created a record. And so that's the difference. And eloquence of the scribe tells that. Well, I can talk about these for a long time. In fact, I'm hoping that Dr. Beatty will hear this brief description and discussion and critique that I have understood or not understood the intent of his class and the writings of Arma and Obenga and the others that I'm getting into right now. But I think I'm onto something. I'm loving what I do. I'm excited about this conversation, excited about this technology. And at the end of the day, Dr. Carter, Dr. Hunter, and Dr. Carr talk about narrative, nubia, and all that we do in the context of what does it mean for our freedom? How does our activity lead us to freedom? And what does freedom mean for us? They talk about the acknowledging, the distinction between the social structure and the governance structure. Social structure being how society outside of us looks at us, how we act, interfacing with the general society. But the governance structure, they say, is how we act for each other, with each other, uh, and irrespective of the pressure, the invitation, the the um, the fact that we're surrounded by the general social system, that we need to develop clarity on how we um, can be ourselves, our genuine selves, and that's in the realm of governance. So great stories, great conversations, great ideas. I'm having a great time learning. I hope that you'll join me on this path, on this search for understanding and how we create a community, a world that reflects our dignity and presents the solutions that we have for ourselves and for our fellow human beings, for our environment, for the planet. Michelle Madison, again, I looked at her note from a little bit ago. She said, "My grandfather was born in the island of Turks and Caicos. Many famous people have houses there, such as Bruce Willis, for example." And she said her grandmother was born in Antigua, and she's got family throughout the Caribbean. That's so cool because all of us are connected. I remember being at a conference of combination of National Association of Black Journalists meeting in conjunction with the Caribbean Communications Association. That might not be the exact name, but it was Black people from throughout the Caribbean and South America and Black reporters from North America, the US NABJ, having a meeting in Kingston several years ago. And I was in a room where there's a panel being led by Dr. Professor Rex Nettleford. Nettleford, world-renowned dancer, educator, and professor, philosopher. And for the first time, I heard someone describe us as New World Africans. He talked, and I just remember, like it was yesterday, his description of himself and us as Africans in the New World. I just didn't have that thought in my mind before that, but it resonated with me so much so that I remember when one of my employees came back from Ghana. She came to my office in downtown Minneapolis and said, "Hello, African." I'm not sure if this was before that or after that, around the same time, probably before this trip to Jamaica. She said, "Hello, African." And I said, "What you call me?" Because back then, where I grew up, we didn't want to be affiliated with or associated with Africa or the word black or anything else that had the negative connotation. All of that a product of white supremacy and the oppression of black identity and black culture and black bodies, and black humanity. And so she said, "Hello, African." And I said, "What you call me?" She said, "Hello, African." She said it slowly, clearly, lovingly. And I listened and I thought, and I know the initial shock of hearing it was a knee jerk of conditioning. But as I listened and heard her and felt her say it again, I tell you, it felt like drinking, something soothing, healing. The voice itself, the words, the enunciation, "Hello, African." And so it was an awakening. And I think it was after that that I was probably in Jamaica and heard Dr. Nettleford call us New World Africans, Africans in the New World. Well, that's who I am. I'm an African, and I'm an African in the New World. Listen, I could go on. I enjoy talking to myself and talking to you, interested in you and I bringing these conversations forward. If you like this, just let me know. Send me a note. My email is in my name, al@insightnews.com. Check out my newspaper, Insight News. It's online at insightnews.com. There's also a PDF version of it. But if you go to my website, you'll see that I do these shows 5 days a week. The general theme is that on Mondays, I talk with community organizers, community leaders, politicians about the political reality here in Twin Cities and around the world. I love the technology because if I'm talking to somebody down the street, around the corner, a local elected, I could also be talking to a local elected in Brooklyn, New York, or a local elected in Accra, Ghana, or Santiago de Cuba. That's the idea. It's how do we bring all of us together into conversation? Our issues are the same, our challenges are the same, and our victory will be a victory that we all share in, we create together. We will not do it one by one, I guarantee you that. And then on Tuesdays, the show is special because that's when I do my regular, also live broadcast on KFAI. FM 90.3. So we're actually doing live radio, an audience of 100,000 or so, plus the social media, doing those simultaneously. Wednesday today, social media Thursday, social media Thursday show is wonderful because I have friends of mine who are lawyers and educators, academics, and community people looking at issues of the day. And I have a great time. My job always is simply to be the reporter, to be the scribe, to be the witness, to be the journalist, and to let these voices reveal and share. And then Fridays, I work with Dr. Bravada Garrett Akansanya. She is the principal at Braken's Psychological Services and Consulting. She's the founder and CEO of the African American Child Wellness Institute. And I've been working with her. In fact, I serve on her board of directors as the board chair, working with her and her team to talk about health, physical, mental health, wholeness, and whole health for our community. And we have great conversations. We bring in people from around the country, around the world, talking about health and wellness. So join us. We also, these shows that we do are shared on local cable television in both Minneapolis and St. Paul. So our idea is to use these technologies seamlessly in a way that's interactive, that gets the most out of it, to share them on Facebook and on YouTube and on Twitter, and to have them end up as newspaper stories in the newspaper and post on Instagram. We chop them up and come up with small pieces, 1 minute, 30 seconds, something that was important, using all of this technology. Also, So if you're listening and this sounds like something that you can help us do, we're asking for your help. We want people that have mastered this technology or angles or strategies and want to help grow this. We're asking for the help. Reach out to me. I'd love to have your feedback, your criticism, and your suggestions on how we move forward to build together. I'm going to call it quits right now. I'm Al McFarlane. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.